The music box shattered against the hardwood floor, and 6-year-old Emma Rose Martinez watched her last piece of her dead mother break into 1,000 pieces. Brittany smiled while doing it. "Happy birthday, you ungrateful little brat." That was the moment Emma knew her stepmother was going to kill her. Not someday. Soon. She'd heard the phone call about the $380,000 insurance policy. Heard Brittany say, "Another month and she'll be dead, just like Tyler." So Emma ran, climbed out her window, hit the ground running, and made a choice that would bring 220 motorcycles thundering into Flagstaff and expose a serial killer who'd been hiding behind yoga pants and church volunteer smiles for a decade. Subscribe now and follow Emma's story to the end. Comment what city you're watching from so I can see how far this story has traveled. Emma's hands shook so badly the cardboard sign rattled. She'd made it from a cereal box she'd found in the recycling bin 3 days ago when Brittany had locked her in a room for talking back. The purple crayon was the only one she had left. Brittany had thrown away all her art supplies last month, said they were wasteful, said Emma didn't deserve nice things. The October afternoon sun felt warm on her face, but Emma couldn't stop shivering. She hadn't eaten since Tuesday morning, one piece of toast with nothing on it, not even butter, and today was Thursday, her 6th birthday, the day her whole world had shattered before breakfast. A woman in yoga pants walked toward the diner entrance, pushing a stroller. Emma took 3 small steps forward. "Excuse me, ma'am, could you?" The woman's face changed instantly. Her eyes swept over Emma, the 2 small clothes, the visible bruises, the desperate sign, and she pulled her stroller closer like Emma carried something contagious. "I don't have any cash. Sorry." She wasn't sorry. She walked faster, practically running into the diner without looking back. Emma's throat burned. "Don't cry. Don't cry. Crying makes it worse." An elderly man came next, walking his golden retriever. The dog pulled toward Emma, tail wagging, but the man yanked the leash hard. "Come on, buddy, not today." The dog whined. The man kept walking. A businessman in a suit, a teenage girl on her phone, a mother with 2 kids who actually made eye contact with Emma before pulling her children to the other side of the sidewalk and whispering something that made them stare at Emma with wide, frightened eyes. Nobody helped. Nobody asked questions. Nobody saw. Emma pressed her back against the brick wall of the diner, feeling the rough texture through her thin sweater. The sweater her mama had bought her 2 years ago, before the hiking accident, before Daddy married Brittany, before everything good disappeared from Emma's life. She touched the small locket around her neck. Inside was a tiny photo of her mother, Elena Martinez, professional ballet dancer, the most beautiful person Emma had ever known. Mama, who'd taught Emma to plie at age 3, Mama, who'd promised they'd dance together forever. Mama, who died on a hiking trail 14 months ago, when a rock slide took her away without warning, without goodbye, without mercy. Emma had saved for 3 months, $67 from birthday cards, from finding loose change, from the secret stash her grandmother had given her the last time she'd visited before Brittany had stopped allowing visits. She'd bought the gift for herself because Daddy was traveling. He was always traveling now, and Brittany had made it clear there would be no birthday celebration this year. "We don't reward bad behavior, Emma, and you've been very, very bad lately." The music box had been perfect. A small ballerina in a pink tutu that spun when you opened the lid, playing Swan Lake, Mama's favorite. Emma had hidden it in her room, under the loose floorboard behind her bed, where she kept her secret things. The things Brittany didn't know about. Except Brittany had found it. This morning, Emma had woken to find Brittany standing in her doorway, holding the music box. The look on her stepmother's face had made Emma's stomach drop. "What is this?" It's my birthday present. To myself. I used my own money." "Your money?" Brittany's voice had been so quiet. That was always worse than yelling. The quiet meant something bad was coming. "You don't have money. Everything in this house belongs to your father and me. That means it belongs to me, since your father is never here." "But my Nana gave me—" "Your Nana." Brittany had smiled, and it was the smile that made Emma want to disappear. "Your Nana who hasn't visited in 7 months because she finally realized what a difficult, ungrateful child you are." That wasn't true. And the knew it wasn't true. Brittany had stopped answering Nana's calls, had told Daddy that Nana was interfering with the adjustment period, had blocked her number. Emma had heard her do it while Daddy was at the airport. Brittany had turned the music box over in her hands, examining it like something contaminated. $67. That's what the receipt says. She'd pulled it from her pocket. "You spent $67 on a toy." "It's not a toy, it's—" "Do you know what we could have bought with $67? Real things. Useful things. But no. You bought this." And then Brittany had dropped it. Emma had lunged forward, trying to catch it, but she was too small, too slow, too late. The music box hit the hardwood floor and shattered. The ballerina's porcelain head broke off. The mechanism inside made a grinding, broken sound before falling silent. Emma had dropped to her knees, gathering the pieces with shaking hands. She was crying now, couldn't help it. Couldn't stop. "Mama, this was for Mama." "Your mother is dead." Brittany's voice had cut through the room like ice. "She's been dead for over a year. It's time you accepted that and stopped living in the past. This obsession with her is unhealthy. Your father agrees." Daddy didn't agree. Daddy would never say that. But Daddy wasn't here. Daddy was never here. Brittany had crouched down beside Emma, and her voice had dropped to that terrible quiet again. "If you tell your father about this, I'll make sure you regret it. Do you understand me? He already thinks you're disturbed. Therapy level disturbed. I've been documenting your behavior, the lying, the tantrums, the attention-seeking. One more incident and he'll agree it's time for professional intervention. Inpatient professional intervention." Emma had understood the threat. Brittany would send her away. And once Emma was gone, there'd be no one to witness what Brittany really was. "Now clean this mess up and go to your room. No breakfast for girls who waste money on frivolous things. Maybe missing a few meals will teach you gratitude." That had been this morning. Hours ago, and Emma had finally understood something her 6-year-old brain had been trying to process for months. Brittany was going to kill her. Maybe not today, maybe not with her hands, but slowly, carefully, Brittany was erasing Emma from existence. The locked bedroom, the missed meals, the isolation from family, the accusations of lying when Emma tried to tell anyone the truth. So Emma had waited until Brittany left for her yoga class. She went every Thursday at 1 o'clock, never missed it, needed her self-care time. And Emma had climbed out her bedroom window, dropped 8 feet to the bush below, and run. She'd run to the only public place she could think of where people might be kind. Mountain View Diner, where Daddy used to take her for pancakes on Sunday mornings before he married Brittany, before everything changed. But people weren't kind. They walked past, they looked away, they chose not to see. Until him. The man sat alone at an outdoor patio table, and Emma had been watching him for 10 minutes, trying to gather courage. He was massive, over 6 feet tall, shoulders like a linebacker, with a shaved head and a scar running from his left eyebrow to his jaw. Both arms were covered in tattoos, a leather vest with patches that said Hell's Angels in bold letters across the back, skull imagery, angel wings, the words, "In memory of Lily," on his shoulder. Everything about him screamed dangerous. Run away, don't get close. But Emma had run out of options. She'd tried everyone else, the respectable people, the safe people, and they'd all failed her. So she made a choice. Emma walked toward his table. Each step felt impossible. Her separated shoe sole caught on the concrete, making a scraping sound. She stopped 3 feet away from him, clutching her sign with both hands. The man looked up from his coffee. His eyes were brown, tired, carrying weight that Emma somehow recognized even though she didn't have words for it yet. They looked at each other. 6-year-old and scarred biker. Desperation and grief. Emma opened her mouth. Nothing came out. The man's expression changed. He set down his coffee slowly, carefully, like he was trying not to spook a frightened animal. "Hey there." His voice was deep but gentle. "You okay, sweetheart?" Emma shook her head. The tears came now, whether she wanted them to or not. "Can you?" Her voice cracked. She tried again. "Can you please help me? I'm really scared, and nobody will listen, and I don't know what else to do." The man's jaw tightened. His eyes swept over her. The bruises on her arms, the 2 small clothes, the way she was shaking. And something in his face shifted, something fierce and protective, and completely focused. "I'm listening." He pulled out the chair across from him. "Sit down. Tell me everything. And I promise you, I'm not going anywhere until you're safe." Emma sat. The chair was too big. Her feet didn't touch the ground. But she felt something she hadn't felt in 14 months. Like maybe, possibly, someone actually saw her. "My name is Emma Rose Martinez. I'm 6 years old. Today is my birthday." The words tumbled out now, couldn't stop them. "My mama died in a hiking accident last year, and my daddy married Brittany 11 months ago, and she's really nice when daddy's home, but he travels all the time for work, and when he's gone, Brittany—" Emma's breath hitched. "Brittany locks me in my room and doesn't give me food, and she says I'm a liar, and nobody believes me when I try to tell them. And this morning, she destroyed my birthday present and said if I tell Daddy, she'll send me away. And I'm so hungry, and I'm so scared, and I don't want to die. But I think she's waiting for me to die." The man went completely still. His hands on the table had curled into fists, knuckles white. "How long since you ate?" "Tuesday morning. 1 piece of toast." Jesus. He breathed the word like a prayer or a curse. Okay, Emma Rose Martinez. My name is Jackson Morrison. Most people call me Hawk. And I want you to listen to me very carefully. Are you listening?" Emma nodded. "I believe you. Every single word. And I'm going to make sure you're safe. Do you understand? You're safe now. Right now, starting this second. Nobody's going to hurt you anymore." "But Brittany—" "Is about to learn that hurting children has consequences." Hawk pulled out his phone. "I'm going to make some calls, get some people here who can help. But first, let's get you fed. You like burgers?" Emma nodded again. She couldn't remember the last time she'd had a burger. Hawk gestured to a waitress inside. "Miss, can I get a kid's meal out here? Burger, fries, apple slices, chocolate milk. Make it quick, please." The waitress started to say something. This was a breakfast diner, they didn't really do lunch. But then she saw Emma. Really saw her. The bruises, the hunger, the desperate need. Right away. She disappeared inside. Hawk turned back to Emma. While we wait for food, I need you to show me the bruises. All of them. Can you do that? Emma hesitated. You're not a doctor. No, but I used to be a soldier, and I'm going to document everything so we have proof. So when I make my calls, people can't ignore what's happening to you. Okay? Emma pushed up her left sleeve. 4 oval bruises, purple-black, perfect finger marks. Hawk's expression went dark. He pulled out his phone, started taking pictures. When did this happen? Last week. I asked if I could have a snack, and Brittany grabbed my arm really hard and said, "Did I give you permission to eat?" What else? Any other injuries? Emma showed him the bruises on her legs, the circular burn mark on her right shoulder blade, Brittany's cigarette 2 weeks ago, punishment for crying too loudly when she was hungry. Hawk photographed everything. His hands were steady, but Emma could see a muscle jumping in his jaw. Emma, I need to ask you something. Has Brittany ever said anything about money? About insurance? Emma frowned. I don't know what that means. Has she ever talked on the phone about money she'd get if something happened to you? Emma's eyes widened. The vent. Our air vents connect. My room and her bedroom. I heard her talking 3 days ago, late at night. She said... Emma closed her eyes, remembering. She said the policy matures in March, but honestly, I don't think we need to wait. She's deteriorating fast. Another month, maybe 6 weeks, it'll look natural. Failure to thrive. Everyone expects traumatized kids to struggle. 380,000, clean and simple. Hawk went absolutely still. She said something else too, Emma whispered. She said, just like Tyler in Colorado. They didn't even investigate. Accidental fall, they said. 185,000. This is easier because she's already a problem child. The silence that followed felt heavy, dangerous. Hawk's face had gone completely blank, but his eyes were blazing. Tyler in Colorado, he repeated quietly. Emma, did Brittany live in Colorado before she married your dad? Yeah, Colorado Springs. She moved here to Flagstaff last year. The food arrived. The waitress set it down gently, and Emma couldn't help it. She grabbed the burger with both hands and bit into it like she'd been starving. Because she had been. Slow down, sweetheart, Hawk said gently. Food's not going anywhere. Take your time. But Emma couldn't slow down. 3 bites. 4. The burger was the best thing she'd ever tasted. Hawk let her eat, watching with an expression that mixed heartbreak and fury. Then he stood up. I'm going to make a call. I'll be right over there. He pointed 10 feet away, where you can see me the whole time. Okay? Okay. Hawk walked to the edge of the patio, phone to his ear. Emma couldn't hear what he said, but she saw his body language, tense, controlled, speaking fast. He came back 2 minutes later and sat down. Emma, in about 15 minutes, some of my brothers are going to start showing up. They're going to look scary. Big guys, motorcycles, leather, tattoos. But I need you to trust me. Every single one of them is coming here to help you, to protect you, to make sure you're safe. Can you trust me on that? Emma looked at this massive, scarred man who'd listened when no one else would, who'd believed her when everyone else called her a liar, who'd gotten her food and taken her seriously and looked at her like she mattered. I trust you. Good. Hawk's phone buzzed. He looked at it. That's my chapter president. His name's Wolfman. He's got 30 guys mobilizing right now. We're also calling in Flagstaff, Phoenix, and Prescott chapters. Emma, By nightfall, you're going to have 200 people standing between you and anyone who wants to hurt you. And I promise you, on my daughter's grave, I promise you, Brittany will never touch you again." "Your daughter?" Something crossed Hawk's face. Pain, old and deep. Her name was Lily. She'd be 9 now. Leukemia took her 3 years ago. His voice roughened. "She was 6 when she died. Same age as you. And every single day I wake up wishing I could have saved her. But I couldn't. The cancer was too strong." He looked directly at Emma. "But you? You I can save. And I'm going to. Not because you need saving, but because that's what we do. Hell's Angels, we protect people who can't protect themselves, especially kids. That's the code. That's what matters." Emma sets down her burger. "Is that why you have her name tattooed?" "Yeah. So I never forget. So I keep fighting for kids who need fighting for." Hawk reached across the table, and Emma put her small hand in his large, scarred one. "You asked the right person for help, Emma Rose Martinez. And now we're going to make sure every adult who should have been protecting you starts doing their damn job." The first motorcycle rumbled into the parking lot 8 minutes later. Then another. Then 5 at once. Emma watched through the diner window as they kept coming, kept arriving, kept parking in perfect formation. Men in leather vests, women with fierce eyes, all wearing the same patches, all here for the same reason, all here for her. Hawk stood. "Come on, let's go meet your new family." Wolfman pulled his bike into the space beside Hawk's and killed the engine. At 58 years old, he'd been president of the Flagstaff Hells Angels for 12 years and had seen things that would break most people. But when he swung off his Harley and saw the tiny girl standing next to Hawk, something in his chest tightened. She couldn't have weighed more than 40 pounds. Her arm showed bruises that made Wolfman's hands curl into fists before he consciously relaxed them. He'd learned decades ago that anger had to be controlled, channeled, made useful. "This is Emma," Hawk said quietly. "Emma, this is Wolfman. He's in charge." Emma looked up at Wolfman with eyes that had seen too much. "That's a scary name." "It is," Wolfman agreed, kneeling down to her level. His knees protested, but he ignored them. "Got it in the Marines, long time ago. But you know what? The scary names are for bad guys. For little girls who need help, my real name is Thomas, and I'm here to make sure you're safe." "Hawk said I have a new family." "Hawk's right. As of right now, you're under Angel's protection. That means something, Emma. That means we don't leave, we don't quit, we don't walk away. Understand?" Emma nodded slowly. Behind Wolfman, more motorcycles rolled in. The rumble was constant now, a thunder that made windows vibrate. "How many brothers we expecting?" Hawk asked. "Called everyone within 100 miles. Figure we'll hit 200 by nightfall." Wolfman stood, his expression hardening as he looked at Hawk. "You said insurance fraud pattern?" $380 on Emma, previous payout of $185 in Colorado Springs. Guy named Tyler. Emma overheard her stepmother talking about it. "We need Ghost." "Already called him. He's 30 minutes out." The diner manager appeared in the doorway, a woman in her 50s named Carol, who'd owned the place for 20 years. "Excuse me, gentlemen, but I need to know. Are we expecting trouble? Because if the police need to be called—" "Ma'am, police are going to be involved," Wolfman said, his voice respectful but firm. "But not because of us. This little girl has been systematically abused by her stepmother. We're documenting evidence and making sure she's protected until proper authorities can intervene. You have a back room we can use?" Carol looked at Emma, at the bruises, at the desperate hunger still visible in how the girl clutched the half-eaten burger. Her face softened. Conference room and back. It's yours as long as you need it. Appreciate it. The next bike that arrived carried a man Emma would later know as Medic. He was African American, early 50s, with silver threading through his hair and the steady hands of someone who'd spent decades in emergency situations. He pulled off his helmet and walked straight to Emma. Hey there, sweetness. I'm Medic. Used to be an Air Force paramedic. I'd like to check you over if that's okay with you. Make sure you're not hurt anywhere we can't see. Emma shrank back against Hawk. It's okay, Hawk said gently. Medic's good people. He's going to help us document everything so we have proof, so nobody can say you're lying. Will it hurt? Not even a little, Medic promised. Just looking. Maybe listening to your heart and lungs. Nothing scary. Emma nodded slowly. Okay. Carol led them to the conference room. It was small, just a table and 6 chairs, but it had a door that closed and gave them privacy. Medic worked with careful efficiency, his touch gentle as he examined Emma. Malnutrition, he muttered, more to himself than anyone else. Severe. Dehydration. Multiple contusions in various stages of healing. He looked at Emma. Sweetness, I need to check your back. Is that okay? Emma lifted her shirt. Medic's jaw went tight when he saw the circular burn mark. Cigarette. 2 weeks old, maybe 3. He pulled out his phone and documented everything. Healing pattern suggests no medical treatment. Infection risk was significant. She did it because I told the school nurse I was hungry, Emma said quietly. The nurse called Brittany, and Brittany said I was lying for attention. When I got home, Brittany said liars get burned so they remember not to lie. The temperature in the room dropped 10 degrees. Hawk's hand on the table had formed a fist. Wolfman's expression had gone glacial. Emma, Medic said softly. When was the last time you saw a regular doctor? For a checkup? Before Mama died. 2 years ago, maybe? 2 years. Medic looked at Wolfman. 6-year-old child, 2 years without medical care, living with a woman who drives what kind of car? BMW X3, Hawk said. Saw it in the driveway when I looked up the address. Right. Medic turned back to Emma. I'm going to write up everything I found. Height, weight, every injury. This is medical documentation. Holds up in court. Nobody can dismiss this. A motorcycle that sounded different from the others pulled up outside. 30 seconds later, a white man in his mid-40s walked in, wearing a leather vest over a button-down shirt. Wire-rimmed glasses, laptop bag over his shoulder. He looked more like a CPA than a biker. This is Ghost, Wolfman said. Best forensic accountant in the state. Used to work for the FBI. Ghost set his laptop on the table and looked at Emma. His expression softened immediately. Hi, Emma. I'm going to find out everything about your stepmother's finances. Bank accounts, insurance policies, everything. And I'm going to find out what happened to Tyler in Colorado. That okay with you? You can do that? Emma asked. I can do that. Ghost opened his laptop. Give me names, dates, locations. Hawk provided everything Emma had told him. Ghost's fingers flew across the keyboard. Nobody spoke. The only sound was typing and the distant rumble of more motorcycles arriving. 3 minutes passed. Ghost's eyes narrowed. Got him. Tyler James Brennan. Died March 15, 2023 in Colorado Springs. Age 41. Cause of death. Ghost paused. Accidental fall downstairs. He was engaged to Brittany Claire Lawson. They'd been together for 14 months. Insurance payout? Wolfman asked. More typing. $185,000. Paid out May 20th, 2023. Beneficiary? Brittany Claire Lawson. Jesus, Medic breathed. It gets worse, Ghost said, still typing. Brittany moved to Flagstaff June 5, 2023. Met Daniel Martinez, that's Emma's father, on a dating app in July. Married November 1st, 2023. 4 months. Fast, Hawk said. Deliberate, Ghost corrected. And look at this. Life insurance policy on Emma Rose Martinez, taken out December 1st, 2023. 1 month after the marriage. Amount, $380,000. Beneficiaries, Daniel Martinez primary, Brittany Martinez secondary. But he pulled up another document. Brittany has power of attorney for all household financial decisions, signed by Daniel, January 10, 2024. So she controls everything, Wolfman said. Everything. And here's the kicker. Tyler's policy had a 2-year contestability period, standard in insurance, means the company investigates suspicious deaths closely for the first 2 years. Tyler died at 14 months. Brittany waited until after the investigation period to make her move. Emma listened to all this, not understanding all the words, but understanding the tone, understanding that the adults were finding proof. Proof that she wasn't lying. Proof that Brittany was dangerous. The door opened and another man walked in. He was younger, early 30s, Latino, with intelligent eyes and the bearing of someone who'd spent years in law enforcement. Emma recognized the way he moved, careful, observant, missing nothing. "This is Radar," Wolfman said. "Former Phoenix PD. 15 years. He knows how to document evidence the right way, the way that holds up in court." Radar looked at Emma, and something in his face changed. "I have a daughter your age. Her name is Sophia. If someone hurt her..." He stopped, collected himself. "Let's make sure we do this right." He pulled out a professional camera and started photographing everything Medic pointed out. Each bruise, each injury, the burn mark. He documented angles, measured, spoke into a voice recorder with clinical precision. 4 oval contusions on left forearm, purple-black coloration, 2 to 3 days post-injury. Pattern consistent with adult grip, right hand dominant based on thumb placement. Emma sat very still while he worked. Hawk stayed beside her the whole time, his presence solid and reassuring. Circular burn mark on right posterior shoulder blade, approximately 0.75 inches diameter, consistent with lit cigarette contact. Approximately 14 to 21 days old based on healing pattern. Click, click, click. When Radar finished, he looked at Wolfman. "We need CPS and police, but we need them after we have everything documented. Otherwise, they'll show up, talk to the stepmother, and believe her over the kid. Happens every time." "Agreed," Wolfman said. "What else do we need?" "Witness statements from everyone who failed her," Radar said bluntly. "Every adult who saw signs and did nothing. School nurse, teachers, neighbors. We need their statements on record. Let them explain why they looked the other way." Another bike pulled up. This one carried a woman. She was in her late 40s with kind eyes and gray streaking through her dark hair. She walked in and immediately smiled at Emma. "This is Teacher," Hawk said. "Real name's Patricia. Spent 25 years as a school counselor before she retired. She knows how to talk to kids who've been through trauma." Teacher pulled up a chair beside Emma, not too close, giving her space. "Hi, Emma. I heard you've had a really hard time. Would it be okay if we talked for a little bit? Just you and me? I want to hear your story in your own words." Emma looked at Hawk. He nodded. "It's okay. Teacher's safe. And I'll be right outside the door where you can see me. You can stop anytime you want." Teacher pulled out a small recording device. "I'm going to record our conversation so we make sure we get everything exactly right. Is that okay?" "Okay." Teacher hit record. "October 15th, 2025,
4:47 p.m. Interview with Emma Rose Martinez, age 6, conducted with her consent.
Emma, can you tell me when things started getting bad at home? And Emma told her everything. Not in a rush this time, but slowly, with detail, about how Brittany had been nice at first for maybe 2 weeks after the wedding. Then little things started. Comments about Emma being difficult, forgetting to make Emma's lunch, saying Emma's clothes were dirty when they weren't, making her change 4 or 5 times. Then in March, the locks appeared, on the refrigerator and the pantry. Brittany said it was because I was sneaking food at night and I needed to learn discipline. Were you sneaking food? No, I was just hungry because she'd stopped making me dinner most nights. What reason did she give for not making dinner? She said if I couldn't follow the rules exactly perfect, I didn't deserve to eat. But the rules kept changing. Like she'd say, clean your room, and I'd clean it, but then she'd say I didn't do it good enough. Or she'd say I had attitude, even when I was trying really hard to be good. Teacher's expression remained neutral, encouraging, but Emma could see tears gathering in the corners of her eyes. Did you try to tell anyone? Yes, I told Mrs. Henderson at school. She's the school nurse. She called Brittany, and Brittany said I was manipulative and lying for attention because I missed my mama. Then, when I got home, Emma touched her shoulder blade. That's when she burned me. She said, "This is what happens to liars." Did Mrs. Henderson follow up? No. Nobody ever follows up. Emma told teacher about Mr. Patterson, the neighbor, who she'd asked if she could stay with him for a while. He told her father she seemed troubled. Her father had asked about it, but Brittany was right there, smiling sadly, saying Emma was having trouble adjusting. What was I supposed to say? Brittany was right there, and Daddy always believes her. Why do you think your daddy believes her? Because he's never there when it happens. He travels Monday through Friday every week. Brittany is really nice when he's home. She makes me normal food. She smiles at me. She calls me sweetie. But the second Daddy leaves for the airport, Emma's voice dropped. Everything changes. Teacher asked about the phone conversation Emma had overheard. Emma recited it word for word. She'd written it down in a small notebook she kept hidden. Do you still have that notebook? Yes, it's in my room, in the air vent. There's a loose piece and I hide things there. What else is in the notebook? Every time Brittany doesn't give me food, every time she locks me in my room, every time she hurts me, I write it down with the date because... Emma's voice trembled. Because I knew nobody would believe me without proof. Teacher's hand shook slightly as she made notes. Emma, that was incredibly smart. You protected yourself the only way you could. The interview lasted 23 minutes. When it was done, teacher turned off the recorder and pulled Emma into a gentle hug. You are the bravest girl I have ever met, and you're going to be safe now. I promise you that. Outside the conference room, Radar was interviewing someone on speakerphone. Emma could hear a woman's voice, defensive and guilty at the same time. Mrs. Henderson, this is Ramon Santos, private investigator. I'm calling about Emma Martinez. You're the school nurse at Ponderosa Elementary, correct? Yes. Why? What's happened? Emma's currently under protective custody. We are documenting a case of severe child abuse. She says she came to you in May and reported that her stepmother wasn't feeding her. Is that accurate? Silence on the line. Then, she did mention something about missing meals, yes. And what did you do? I called her stepmother. Mrs. Martinez explained that Emma had been having behavioral issues since her mother's death. That she was attention-seeking. I believed her. Did you examine Emma for signs of malnutrition? No. Mrs. Martinez was very convincing, very concerned. She's active in the PTA, volunteers at the church. Seems like a wonderful mother.
Emma weighed 38 pounds when we examined her today. She should weigh between 48 and 50 pounds. She has multiple untreated injuries, including a cigarette burn she received as punishment for talking to you. Did you file a report with Child Protective Services? The silence stretched longer this time. No. I thought she was just a grieving child acting out. You thought wrong. Radar's voice was ice. A 6-year-old came to you for help, and you dismissed her. Emma's stepmother has a life insurance policy worth $380,000 and a history of suspicious deaths linked to insurance fraud. You could have stopped this in May.
Instead, Emma spent 5 more months being starved and tortured, while you believed the respectable adult over the suffering child.
I didn't know.
You should have. That's your job. To know. To investigate. To protect children. Radar ended the call. Wolfman looked at Hawk. We need more. Ghost looked up from his laptop. His face had gone pale. I found something else. Brittany lived in Sacramento before Colorado Springs, 2015 to 2020, engaged to a man named Marcus Webb. The room went silent. Marcus Webb died in September 2016. House fire. He was alone. Brittany was conveniently at her sister's house that weekend. Insurance payout? Wolfman asked, though his voice suggested he already knew the answer. $130,000. Cause of death ruled accidental. Faulty wiring. But... Ghost turned his laptop around. Fire investigation report noted that the smoke detector batteries had been removed. Webb's sister filed a complaint, said Brittany had been pressuring Marcus to increase his life insurance policy just weeks before the fire. Investigation was opened, but then closed. Insufficient evidence. That's 3, Medic said quietly. 3 deaths, 3 insurance payouts, and Emma was supposed to be number 4. Hawk's phone buzzed. He looked at it, and his expression hardened. That's Tech. He's at Emma's house. Brittany just pulled into the driveway. Emma's head snapped up. She's home? But she can't. I'm not there. She's going to know I ran away. Good, Wolfman said grimly. Let her know. Let her panic. Because in about 10 minutes, she's going to have a lot more to panic about. Outside, the rumble of motorcycles was constant now. Emma could see them through the window. Dozens of bikes, dozens of people in leather vests, all standing in silent formation. All standing for her. Hawk knelt down beside Emma. Remember what I said? You're safe now. Brittany can't touch you, and she's about to learn that hurting a Hells Angels family comes with consequences. Emma nodded, but her hands were shaking. What if she says I'm lying? She's really good at making people believe her. Not this time, Ghost said, turning his laptop to show Emma. Because we have bank records, insurance documents, death certificates, and a pattern spanning 10 years. We have medical documentation, photographs, and your testimony on record. We have witness statements from every adult who failed you. She can't talk her way out of this. Radar's phone rang. He answered, listened. Then his expression shifted to something satisfied and dangerous. That was Tech. Brittany's inside the house calling everyone. Her lawyer, Emma's father, the police. She's reporting Emma as a runaway. Claims Emma's been having behavioral issues and she's worried about her safety. Of course she is, teacher said bitterly. Classic abuser move. Control the narrative before anyone questions it. Wolfman stood. Time to pay Mrs. Martinez a visit. Hawk, you stay with Emma. Radar, Medic, Ghost, Teacher. You're with me. We're going to her house, and we're going to make sure when the police arrive, they're hearing our story first."
"What about me?"
Emma asked in a small voice. Wolfman looked at her with something fierce and protective. "You've done your part, Emma. You survived. You asked for help. You told the truth. Now let us do our part. Let us make sure the adults who should have been protecting you start doing their jobs." As Wolfman's team headed for the door, more bikes pulled up. Emma counted them. 15, 20, 30. Hawk stayed beside her, steady and present. "You want to know something? Every single person out there, they came for you. They dropped everything, dinner, work, family time, because you needed help. That's what brotherhood means. That's what family means. And you're part of that family now." Emma looked at all the motorcycles, all the people, all the protection. And for the first time in 14 months, she believed that maybe, possibly, she really was going to be safe. But in the back of her mind, one thought remained. Brittany was smart. Brittany was convincing. Brittany had fooled everyone for almost a year. What if she found a way to fool them, too? Brittany Martinez stood in her kitchen talking on her cell phone when she noticed the motorcycles through the window. 1, 3, 7, 15. They kept coming, parking in formation along the street, blocking her driveway. Her voice didn't falter on the phone.
"Yes, officer, my stepdaughter has been missing since this afternoon. She's 6 years old, emotionally troubled since her mother's death, and I'm extremely concerned for her safety."
But her free hand gripped the granite countertop hard enough that her knuckles went white. Wolfman was the first to approach the front door. He didn't knock. He rang the bell once, then stood there with radar, ghost, medic, and teacher flanking him. Behind them, 40 Hell's Angels lined the walkway and street, silent, watching, waiting. Brittany opened the door, wearing Lululemon athletic wear and her best concerned stepmother expression. Her blonde highlights were perfect, her makeup flawless. Everything about her screamed respectable, put together, trustworthy.
"Can I help you?"
Her voice was warm, measured, slightly confused by the presence of so many motorcycles. "Mrs. Martinez?" Wolfman's voice was polite but held an edge that made her instinctively take a half-step back. "We're here about Emma."
"Oh, thank God."
Brittany's hand went to her chest, relief flooding her face. It was a perfect performance.
"Is she with you? Is she safe? I've been so worried. She's been having such difficulty since her mother passed, and this afternoon she disappeared, and I didn't know where."
"Emma's safe," Radar interrupted. "She's under protective custody right now." Something flickered in Brittany's eyes, just for a microsecond. Then the concerned mother mask slid back into place.
"Protective custody? I don't understand. From what? From me?"
She laughed, but it sounded forced.
"This is absurd. I'm her stepmother. I've been trying so hard to help her adjust, to give her stability after losing her mother."
"Is that what you call it?" Medic's voice was quiet, dangerous. "Help? Stability? Because Emma weighs 38 pounds, Mrs. Martinez. She should weigh 50. She has bruises in various stages of healing, a cigarette burn on her shoulder blade, and she hasn't had a meal since Tuesday morning." Brittany's expression shifted. The warmth drained away, replaced by something colder, more calculating.
"I see. Emma's been telling stories again. She does that. It's one of her behavioral issues. The therapist warned us."
"What therapist?" Teacher asked sharply. "Name and contact information, please." Brittany's mouth opened, closed.
We're still in the process of finding the right fit."
"So there is no therapist," Ghost said. It wasn't a question.
"Emma is a troubled child,"
Brittany said, her voice hardening now.
"She lies for attention. She's manipulative. She resents me for taking her mother's place, and she's been acting out in increasingly concerning ways. I've been documenting everything." "Funny you should mention documentation," Ghost said, pulling out his tablet. "Because we've been doing some documenting of our own." Tyler Brennan, Colorado Springs, died March 15th, 2023. Your fiancé. Accidental fall down the stairs. $185,000 insurance payout. Brittany's face went completely blank. "I don't know what you're talking about." "No? How about Marcus Webb, Sacramento, September 2016. House fire. Your fiancé. $130,000 payout. Smoke detector batteries mysteriously removed. The color drained from Brittany's face. And then there's the $380,000 policy you took out on Emma 1 month after marrying her father. That's interesting timing, Mrs. Martinez. Almost like you have a pattern." "You need to leave my property." Brittany's voice shook now, the mask cracking. "Right now, or I'm calling the police." "Already did," Wolfman said. "They're on their way. With a search warrant. Signed by Judge Morrison 20 minutes ago. Because, see, Mrs. Martinez, Emma told us about the conversation she overheard. The one where you said she'd be dead by Thanksgiving and you'd be picking out a new car with the insurance money. The one where you mentioned Tyler's policy and how easy it was." That child is delusional." "We also have medical documentation," Medic said. "Photographs of every injury. Testimony from Emma detailing systematic abuse and starvation. Bank records showing you're drowning in debt while driving a BMW you can't afford. And we've reopened investigations into both Tyler Brennan's and Marcus Webb's deaths. By tomorrow morning, you're going to have homicide detectives from 2 states very interested in talking to you." Brittany stood in her doorway, and for the first time, the mask completely shattered. What showed underneath was cold, calculating rage. "You have no idea what you've done," she said quietly. "That child is mine. She belongs to me. I'm her legal guardian, and you have no right." "Actually, we have every right," Radar said. "Because we're citizens reporting suspected child abuse, which makes it our legal obligation. And in about 5 minutes, when CPS arrives with police backup, you're going to have a lot of explaining to do." Sirens wailed in the distance, getting closer. Brittany's eyes went from face to face, calculating, searching for an angle, a way out, someone she could convince. She found none. "I want my lawyer." "Smart move," Wolfman said. "You're going to need one." 2 Flagstaff PD units pulled up, followed by an unmarked sedan. Detective Sarah Morrison got out of the sedan, early 40s, 15 years on the force, and she'd seen enough in her career that very little surprised her anymore. But the sight of 40-plus Hells Angels standing in silent formation outside a house in an upscale neighborhood, that got her attention. She approached Wolfman. "I'm Detective Morrison. You the one who called this in?" "I am. Thomas Reeves." He shook her hand. "And before you ask, yes, we're Hells Angels. No, we're not causing trouble. We're reporting systematic child abuse and attempted murder." Morrison's eyebrows went up. "That's a serious allegation." "We have serious evidence." Wolfman gestured to Ghost, Radar, and Medic. Former FBI forensic accountant, former Phoenix PD detective, and former Air Force paramedic. We've documented everything. Medical evidence, financial records, witness testimony, and a pattern of insurance fraud connected to 3 suspicious deaths spanning 10 years. Morrison looked at Brittany, who'd composed herself and now stood with her arms crossed, the picture of offended innocence. "Detective, I have no idea what these people are talking about. My stepdaughter is a troubled child who's been telling increasingly disturbing lies. I've been trying to get her help, but she's resistant to therapy and—
Save it, Morrison said curtly. She turned to Medic. Medical evidence? Medic pulled out his phone, showed her the photographs. Morrison's expression went from skeptical to grim in 3 seconds. Jesus. When were these taken? 2 hours ago. Emma Rose Martinez, age 6. 38 pounds, should be 50. Multiple contusions. Burn mark consistent with cigarette contact. Signs of prolonged malnutrition and dehydration. She reports being locked in her room for days at a time with no food. Her stepmother took out a $380,000 life insurance policy on her 5 weeks after marrying the child's father. Morrison looked at Ghost. Financial records? Ghost turned his tablet around. 3 previous insurance payouts. Marcus Webb, Sacramento, 2016. Tyler Brennan, Colorado Springs, 2023. Both engaged to the suspect. Both died in accidents that were investigated but ruled inconclusive. Both died within weeks of the 2-year contestability period expiring. Total payouts, $315,000. Current policy on victim, $380,000. Morrison was quiet for a long moment. Then she looked at Brittany with an expression that could freeze steel. Mrs. Martinez, I'm going to need you to come with me. We have questions. I'm not going anywhere without my lawyer. That's your right, but you're still coming with me. Morrison gestured to the uniformed officers. And we're executing this search warrant right now. You can't just— This is harassment. This is a criminal investigation into child abuse and suspected murder. So yeah, we can. Morrison looked at Wolfman. Where's the child now? Protected location, with my brothers. She's safe, fed, and under medical observation. I'm going to need to interview her. Understood. But she's been through hell today. Maybe give her an hour to decompress? Morrison considered this, then nodded. 1 hour. Then I need her statement. A CPS caseworker arrived, a woman in her 50s named Linda Chen. She listened to the summary, looked at the medical photos, and her face went hard. How long has this been going on? 11 months, Radar said. Since the marriage, but systematically worse over the past 6 months. And nobody reported it? Emma tried, 4 separate times. School nurse, neighbor, youth pastor at her church, teacher. All of them dismissed her. Said she was attention-seeking, grieving, manipulative. Linda's jaw tightened. I'll be filing reports on every single adult who failed to report suspected abuse. That's mandatory reporting law in Arizona. They're all looking at consequences. The search of the house took 90 minutes. What they found made even Morrison, who'd seen horrific things in her career, go pale. Emma's bedroom door had a deadbolt on the outside. Heavy-duty, new installation, the kind you couldn't open from inside. The room itself was bare. No toys, no books, no comfort items. A thin mattress on the floor. 1 blanket. A plastic bucket in the corner that explained Brittany's methods when she kept Emma confined. This is a cell, Morrison said quietly. This isn't a child's bedroom. This is a prison cell. In the closet, they found a wooden paddle. Engraved on the handle, Attitude Adjustment Tool. In the kitchen, combination locks on the refrigerator and pantry. Professional grade, the kind used in commercial settings, but the worst discovery came from Ghost, who'd been given permission to examine Brittany's laptop once the search warrant was executed. Detective, he called from Brittany's home office. You need to see this. Morrison walked in. Ghost turned the laptop around. Digital ledger. Password protected, but I cracked it. She's been documenting Emma's treatment. Dates, times, meals given or not given, punishments, weight tracking. There's a spreadsheet. Morrison leaned in, reading. Her expression went from grim to horrified. The spreadsheet was titled Treatment Protocol. It detailed every meal Emma received. Tuesday, October 13th. 1 slice toast, no butter, 8 a.m. No lunch, no dinner. Reason: failure to complete room cleaning to acceptable standard. Wednesday, October 14th. No meals, confined to room, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Reason: spoke without permission. Thursday, October 15th. No breakfast. Reason: birthday entitlement attitude. It went back months, a systematic record of starvation, confinement, and abuse. Written in Brittany's own hand. Dated. Time-stamped. Undeniable. "There's more," Ghost said quietly. He opened another folder. "She's been researching. Look at the search history." Morrison read, and her hands started shaking with controlled rage. Untraceable methods, childhood death. How long can children survive without food? Failure to thrive symptoms. Signs that don't raise suspicion. Natural causes ruling. Making death look accidental, children. She was planning this, Ghost said, methodically. She wasn't just abusing Emma. She was killing her slowly and documenting it like a project. Morrison's voice was steel. "Bag the laptop. That's evidence. All of it." In another folder, they found something else. Hidden camera feeds. Brittany had installed cameras in Emma's room, recording her, watching her deteriorate. The files were labeled by date, organized chronologically. "Why would she record this?" Morrison asked. "Insurance company might want proof the child was ill," Ghost said quietly. "Video evidence of failure to thrive, of a child declining, makes the claim more believable, less suspicious." She was building her defense before she even committed the murder. Morrison looked like she wanted to put her fist through a wall. "This woman isn't just a killer. She's a methodical, calculating predator who's been doing this for a decade." Outside, Brittany sat in the back of Morrison's sedan, wrists cuffed, face composed. She wasn't crying, wasn't protesting. Just sitting there, calm, calculating her next move. Morrison walked out, got in the driver's seat, and looked at Brittany in the rearview mirror. "You know what I found in there? Evidence of premeditated murder. Of 3 previous insurance fraud cases that are about to be reopened. Of systematic torture of a 6-year-old child. You're done, Mrs. Martinez. And I'm going to make absolutely sure you never see daylight again." Brittany smiled. It was a cold, empty smile that didn't reach her eyes. "You'll never make it stick. I'm a respected member of this community. Church volunteer, PTA member. Everyone knows me. Everyone will testify to my character. And that child? That disturbed, lying, attention-seeking child whose own father will tell you she's been troubled since her mother died? Good luck convincing a jury." Morrison smiled back. It was a dangerous smile. "See, that's where you're wrong. Because Hell's Angels don't just ride motorcycles. They document. They investigate. They build cases. And they've handed me enough evidence to bury you 3 times over. Plus," she held up her phone, "you just confessed. This conversation is being recorded. Audio and video. Dashboard cam. You just admitted you knew about the insurance policies. You just confirmed Emma's your victim, not your stepdaughter." Brittany's smile vanished. "You're under arrest for felony child abuse, attempted murder, insurance fraud, and pending investigation into 2 counts of homicide, in connection with Tyler Brennan and Marcus Webb. You have the right to remain silent, which, honestly, you should have exercised about 3 minutes ago. At the diner, Emma sat with Hawk when teacher's phone rang. She answered, listened, then smiled.
They arrested her. Found everything. The locks, the paddle, the cameras. Digital ledger of every meal she withheld. Search history of how to kill a child and make it look natural. It's over, Emma. She's going to prison.
Emma's hands started shaking, not from fear, from the sudden, overwhelming relief of a weight being lifted that she'd been carrying for so long, she'd forgotten what it felt like to breathe without it.
She can't come back? She can't get me?
Never, Hawk said firmly. She's going to be charged with attempted murder. Even if she makes bail, which she won't, there'll be a protection order. She can't come within 500 feet of you, ever.
What about Daddy?
Teacher's expression softened. Your dad's been called. He's flying back right now. He doesn't know yet, not everything, but he's going to learn. And Emma, this isn't going to be easy for him either. He's going to have to face that he married someone who is trying to kill his daughter, that he missed the signs, that he trusted the wrong person.
Is he going to be mad at me?
At you? Hawk looked startled. Emma, no. None of this is your fault. Not one single part. You're the victim. You survived. Your dad, he's going to have to process a lot of guilt and pain. But that's his burden to carry, not yours. Morrison arrived at the diner 45 minutes later. She came in alone, deliberately unthreatening, and knelt down to Emma's level.
Hi, Emma. I'm Detective Morrison.
I need to ask you some questions, okay? But first, I want you to know, we found everything. The locks on the food, the deadbolt on your door, the ledger where she wrote down every time she hurt you, the cameras she used to watch you. We found all of it, and she's going to prison for a very, very long time.
How long?
If I have anything to say about it, the rest of her life. But I need your help. I need you to tell me everything in your own words so we can make sure she never hurts another child. Can you do that? Emma looked at Hawk. He nodded. I'll be right here the whole time. You're not alone. So Emma told her story again, for the 3rd time that day. But this time it was different. This time she was talking to someone who had the power to make sure Brittany paid for what she'd done. This time, her words had weight, had consequences, had meaning. She told Morrison about the starvation, the confinement, the cigarette burn, about the phone conversation she'd overheard, about trying to get help from adults who'd dismissed her as a troubled, lying child. Morrison took notes, recorded everything, and never once looked at Emma with doubt or skepticism. She believed her, every word. When Emma finished, Morrison said quietly, "You are the bravest person I've met in 15 years of police work. Do you know that? 6 years old, and you fought to survive when most adults would have given up. You kept evidence. You kept trying to get help, even when everyone failed you. You saved your own life, Emma. Nobody else. You." Emma's eyes filled with tears.
I just wanted someone to listen.
I'm listening now. And I promise you, Brittany Martinez is never going to hurt you or anyone else again. Morrison stood, looked at Wolfman. We're going to need Emma in protective custody until we can arrange proper placement. Her father's flying in, but that's hours away, and we need— She stays with us, Wolfman said. It wasn't a request. We've got a safe house. Brothers on rotation 24/7. She'll be protected, fed, and cared for until her father arrives. Then we'll reassess. Morrison considered this, then nodded. Unorthodox, but given that you're the ones who saved her life when every official channel failed, I'm not going to argue. 48 hours, then we need official placement. Fair enough. As Morrison left, Ghost approached with his laptop. His expression was troubled. Found something else. In Brittany's email. She's been corresponding with someone. Account's encrypted, but I traced it. Another woman. They're discussing methods, comparing notes on insurance fraud. There might be more victims, more people doing exactly what Brittany was doing. This might be bigger than we thought. Hawk's hand tightened on Emma's shoulder. How much bigger? Could be a network. Could be isolated, but either way. Ghost looked at Emma. Emma might have just exposed something that's going to save a lot of lives. Outside, the sun was setting. 220 motorcycles lined the street, and somewhere in a police station, Brittany Martinez sat in an interrogation room, finally unable to talk her way out, unable to manipulate, unable to escape the consequences of a decade of calculated murder and cruelty. Emma touched her mama's locket. Is it really over? The worst part is, Hawk said gently. But healing? That's going to take time. And we're going to be here for all of it. Daniel Martinez's plane touched down at Flagstaff Pulliam Airport at 11:43 that night. He'd gotten 3 phone calls in the span of 20 minutes while waiting to board in Atlanta. The first from Detective Morrison, explaining that his wife had been arrested for attempted murder of his daughter. The second from CPS, informing him Emma was in protective custody. The third from a man who identified himself as Wolfman, president of the Hells Angels Flagstaff chapter, telling him exactly where to go when he landed, and warning him that what he was about to learn would destroy everything he thought he knew about his marriage. Daniel had spent the entire flight trying to process information that didn't make sense. Brittany arrested, Emma starving, insurance fraud? It was impossible. Brittany was perfect. Brittany was helping Emma adjust. Brittany was... The thoughts kept circling. Denial fighting against a growing horror that he'd missed something catastrophic. Something that had been happening in his own house while he was traveling for work, trusting his new wife to care for his daughter, believing that the tension between them was just normal step-family adjustment. He'd chosen to believe that, chosen the easy explanation, chosen to trust Brittany's reassurances over Emma's withdrawn silences. A motorcycle escort was waiting at the airport. 3 Hells Angels who didn't speak, just gestured for him to follow. They led him to the safe house, an older ranch home on the outskirts of town where lights blazed in every window and brothers stood watch on the porch. Hawk met him at the door. Daniel recognized him immediately from Morrison's description. Massive, scarred, intimidating. The man who'd saved his daughter's life. Mr. Martinez, come in. Daniel's hands were shaking. Where's Emma? Is she? She's asleep. Been through hell today. Doctor gave her something mild to help her rest. Hawk's expression was neutral, but his eyes held judgment. Before you see her, you need to see the evidence. All of it. Because when Emma wakes up and looks at you, you need to understand exactly what you failed to protect her from. The words hit like a physical blow. Daniel opened his mouth to protest, to defend himself, but Hawk was already walking into the living room where Ghost had set up his laptop on the coffee table. Sit down, Mr. Martinez. This is going to be hard to watch. Ghost turned the laptop around. Medical photographs filled the screen. Emma's bruises, the cigarette burn, her skeletal frame, weight chart showing an 11-pound deficit. Then Brittany's digital ledger, the treatment protocol, the starvation schedule, the punishment log. Daniel made it through 3 entries before he stood up, stumbled to the bathroom, and vomited. When he came back, pale and shaking, Wolfman was there. "Mr. Martinez, I'm not going to sugarcoat this. Your daughter has been systematically tortured for 11 months. Starved, burned, locked in her room for days at a time. And she tried to get help 4 separate times. School nurse, neighbor, youth pastor, teacher. Every single adult dismissed her, called her a liar, an attention seeker, a troubled child acting out." "I didn't know," Daniel whispered. "I swear to God, I didn't know." "You weren't there to know," Hawk said bluntly. "You traveled 5 days a week, left your 6-year-old daughter with a woman you'd known for 4 months before marrying her. A woman who'd been widowed twice under suspicious circumstances that you apparently never investigated." "Brittany said Tyler died in an accident." "Tyler was murdered," Ghost interrupted. "So was Marcus Webb before him. Both for insurance money. Both within months of the contestability period expiring. Your wife is a serial killer, Mr. Martinez, and Emma was supposed to be victim number 4. Daniel's face crumpled. He put his head in his hands and started to cry. Not quiet tears, broken, wrenching sobs that shook his entire body. "My baby, my little girl. Elena died and I couldn't handle being alone, and Brittany was so perfect and so helpful. And I thought Emma needed a mother figure, and I never even considered." "That's exactly what Brittany counted on," Teacher said from the doorway. She'd been watching Emma sleep, but had come out when she heard Daniel arrive. "She targeted you. Widower with a young daughter and life insurance. She researched you, crafted her entire personality to be exactly what you needed. That's what predators do." "I should have seen it. I'm her father. I should have protected her." "Yes," Wolfman said flatly. "You should have. And you're going to have to live with that failure for the rest of your life. But right now, what matters is what you do next. Emma's going to wake up in a few hours. She's going to see you, and she's going to be scared that you won't believe her, that you'll choose Brittany over her, that you'll send her back." "Never," Daniel choked out. "I would never." "Then you need to prove it. Not with words, with actions, with presence, with the complete restructuring of your life to put Emma first." Hawk's voice was steel. "That means no more traveling, no more 5 days a week gone. No more trusting other people to raise your daughter. She needs you, actually needs you. Present, engaged, paying attention. I'll quit my job. Tonight. I don't care about the money or the career. Emma is—" Daniel couldn't finish. "Good," Wolfman said, "because here's what's going to happen. CPS is recommending Emma be placed with family while you undergo parenting classes and therapy. Do you have family nearby?" "My mother, Maria. She lives here in Flagstaff. Emma adores her. Brittany stopped—" Daniel's voice broke. "Brittany stopped letting my mother visit. Said it interfered with bonding. Said Emma needed space from reminders of Elena. I believed her. God help me, I believed her. Call your mother," Teacher said. "Now. Wake her up if you have to. She needs to know what's happened, and Emma's going to need her." Daniel pulled out his phone with shaking hands. It rang 4 times before a sleepy voice answered. "Daniel, it's almost midnight. What's—" "Mom," Daniel's voice cracked. "Mom, I need you. Emma needs you. Something terrible has happened, and I need you right now." Maria Martinez arrived 38 minutes later, still in her pajamas with a coat thrown over them. She was 67 years old, silver hair in a braid, and when Hawk explained what had happened to her granddaughter, her face went through shock, horror, rage, and finally settled into something fierce and protective. "Where is she?" Teacher led her to the bedroom. Emma was curled on her side, finally resting after the worst day of her young life. Maria stood in the doorway, hand over her mouth, shoulders shaking.
"She's so thin. My baby girl is so thin."
"Brittany's been starving her for months," Teacher said quietly. "Systematically, with a schedule. Emma weighs 38 pounds. Maria made a sound like something had torn inside her. She walked to the bed and knelt beside it, gently touching Emma's hair.
"I knew something was wrong."
A grandmother knows. But Brittany kept making excuses why I couldn't visit. Daniel kept saying everything was fine. And Maria's voice turned harsh. "I didn't push hard enough. I let Brittany keep me away from my granddaughter while she was dying." "You didn't know the extent," Teacher said. "Brittany was very good at controlling information." "That's no excuse. Emma needed me and I failed her." Maria looked up, her eyes blazing. "But I'm here now, and I'm not going anywhere. Emma comes home with me. Today, tonight, whenever they'll release her. She's staying with me until Daniel proves he can be the father she needs." In the living room, Daniel was still talking to Wolfman and Hawk. "What's going to happen to Brittany?" "Trial," Wolfman said. "Probably in 3 to 4 months. Morrison's building the case. Multiple charges. Attempted murder, child abuse, insurance fraud. They're also reopening Tyler Brennan and Marcus Webb cases. If they can connect her to those deaths, she's looking at 3 consecutive life sentences." "Will Emma have to testify?" "Probably. In closed session, with advocates present. But yeah, she'll have to tell her story in court." Daniel's face went gray. "She's 6 years old. She shouldn't have to." "She shouldn't have had to survive torture either," Hawk said bluntly. "But she did, and now she has to see it through. The good news is Morrison's case is solid. Physical evidence, medical documentation, Brittany's own digital records. Even if Emma couldn't testify, they could still convict. But her testimony will seal it." Ghost looked up from his laptop. "There's something else. The email correspondence I found? I traced it. Woman named Jennifer Hale. Phoenix. She's been doing the same thing. 3 insurance payouts over 8 years. Different methods, different covers, but same pattern. Morrison's working with Phoenix PD right now. They're moving on her tonight." "How many victims are we talking about?" Daniel asked, his voice hollow. "Could be dozens across multiple states. This might be part of a larger network. Women targeting vulnerable men with children or assets, marrying them, taking out policies, and arranging accidents." Ghost's expression was grim. Emma exposing Brittany might have just cracked open something much bigger. The weight of that settled over the room. Emma's survival wasn't just about saving one child. It was about exposing a system of predators who'd been operating successfully for years. Maria came back into the living room. "She's awake. She's asking for someone named Hawk." Hawk stood immediately. "I'll go." When he entered the bedroom, Emma was sitting up, clutching the stuffed bunny someone had bought her earlier. Her eyes were wide, frightened.
"Is Daddy here?"
"He's here. He's in the living room. Your Nana's here too."
"Are they mad at me?"
"Emma." Hawk knelt beside the bed. "Nobody is mad at you. Your dad is heartbroken that he didn't protect you. Your Nana is devastated that Brittany kept her away. But mad at you? Never. You didn't do anything wrong. Nothing. Do you understand?"
"Daddy always believed Brittany."
"He was manipulated. Brittany is very good at manipulating people. But he knows the truth now. All of it. and he's going to have to prove to you that he's changed, that he's going to be the father you need.
What if he can't?
Then you'll live with your Nana, and we'll still be here, the angels. We don't disappear, Emma. You're family now. That's permanent. Emma touched her mama's locket.
Can I see Daddy?
You can see Daddy. Daniel came in slowly, carefully, like approaching something fragile that might break. When he saw Emma fully awake, really looked at her, the hollow cheeks, the bruises, the fear in her eyes, something inside him shattered completely. He dropped to his knees beside the bed and started crying, not trying to hide it, not trying to be strong, just breaking down completely.
I'm so sorry. Emma, baby, I'm so sorry. I should have been there. I should have seen. I should have protected you, and I failed, and I...
He couldn't continue. Emma stared at her father crying, and something shifted in her expression. Not forgiveness yet. She was too young to process that. But recognition that maybe, possibly, he finally understood.
Brittany said you thought I was disturbed? That you wanted to send me away?
No. Daniel looked up, his face wet with tears. Never. That was a lie. Everything Brittany told you about me was a lie. I love you. I have always loved you. I was so stupid and blind and selfish, and I let work matter more than being home, and I trusted someone I should have investigated. And I am so, so sorry.
Are you going to keep traveling?
No. I'm quitting my job. Tonight. I already called my boss. I don't care about the career. I care about you. Only you. I'm going to find work here in Flagstaff that lets me be home every night. I'm going to be the dad you need. The dad Mama would have wanted me to be. Emma was quiet for a long moment. Then she said in a very small voice,
Mama would be really mad at you right now.
Daniel actually laughed through his tears. She would be. She'd be furious. Your mama didn't tolerate excuses or failures. She'd tell me I had one chance to fix this, and if I blew it, she'd haunt me from the grave.
Mama believed in second chances, Emma said. She told me that once. Everyone deserves a second chance if they really learn and really change.
I'm going to change, baby. I promise you. Whatever it takes. Maria came to the doorway.
Emma, sweetheart, would you like to come stay with me for a while? I have your old room ready, the one with the window seat that overlooks the garden. We can have pancakes in the morning, whatever kind you want.
Emma looked at Hawk. He nodded slightly. Your Nana's place is safe. You'll have your own room, good food, people who love you, and I'll visit. All the brothers will. We're not going anywhere.
Can I bring Honey Bunny?
You can bring anything you want. Emma looked at her father.
Will you visit too?
Every single day if you'll let me. I'll prove to you that I've changed, that you can trust me, however long it takes. 3 months later, Brittany Martinez stood in a Coconino County courtroom wearing an orange jumpsuit. The trial had lasted 4 days. The jury deliberated for 97 minutes. Emma had testified on day 3 in a closed session, only the judge, jury, attorneys, and her advocates present. She told her story in her own words, calm, detailed, impossible to dismiss. When the prosecution showed her the stuffed bunny and asked if she recognized it, Emma had touched it gently and said,
"This is what Brittany destroyed. My birthday present. Because she said I was ungrateful."
The jury had gone pale. Brittany's defense had tried to paint Emma as disturbed, as attention-seeking, as influenced by the Hells Angels.
It fell apart when the prosecution presented Brittany's digital ledger, her search history, the hidden camera footage, and the financial evidence connecting her to 3 suspicious deaths. When the foreman read the verdict, guilty on all counts, Brittany showed no emotion, no tears, no shock, just cold, calculating assessment of her situation. The sentencing came 2 weeks later. Judge Morrison spoke for 12 minutes about the nature of evil, about predators who wear respectable faces, about the failure of systems to protect vulnerable children. Mrs. Martinez, in my 30 years on the bench, I have never encountered someone as calculating, as methodical, as fundamentally lacking in human empathy as you. You tortured a 6-year-old child while documenting her suffering like a research project. You planned her murder with the same attention to detail that others use to plan vacations. And you did this not once, but potentially 4 times across a decade. Brittany's expression never changed. I'm sentencing you to 28 years in state prison on the attempted murder charge, an additional 15 years for child abuse, 10 years for insurance fraud. Sentences to run consecutively. That's 53 years total. You'll be 91 years old before you're eligible for parole. And given that Colorado Springs and Sacramento have active murder investigations with your name attached, I suspect you'll be facing additional charges soon. This court's hope is that you never walk free again. Brittany was led out in shackles. As she passed the gallery where Emma sat between her father and grandmother, she looked directly at the little girl and smiled. It was a smile that said, "This isn't over." A smile that promised she'd find a way to win, eventually. Emma buried her face in her Nana's shoulder. Outside the courthouse, Morrison approached Daniel. Colorado Springs filed charges this morning. First-degree murder in Tyler Brennan's death. New evidence emerged. A neighbor's security camera caught Brittany entering Tyler's house the night he died, when she claimed to be at her sister's. Sacramento's moving forward too. Between the 3 jurisdictions, she's looking at 3 life sentences minimum. Will it stick? It'll stick. And even if somehow it doesn't, Arizona's sentence ensures she's in prison until she dies. Morrison looked at Emma. Your daughter saved lives. Jennifer Hale in Phoenix was arrested. They found evidence of her planning her next victim. Emma's testimony and evidence broke that case open. There are probably more women in this network. FBI's investigating now. Emma had gained 14 pounds. She was seeing Dr. Chen twice a week for therapy, learning that what happened wasn't her fault, learning to trust again, learning that not all adults fail children. Her Nana made sure she ate 3 meals plus snacks every day. Daniel visited every afternoon, kept his promises, showed up consistently for the first time in Emma's life. The Hells Angels hadn't disappeared. Hawk came by every Sunday. They'd established Emma's Watch, a program monitoring at-risk children across Arizona. 4 kids had been removed from dangerous situations in 3 months, 0 fatalities. And Emma was learning something that her 6-year-old mind struggled to fully comprehend, but felt deeply in her bones. Sometimes the scariest-looking people have the biggest hearts, and sometimes evil wears the most respectable face. She'd learned to trust her instincts, to speak her truth, to keep fighting, even when every adult told her she was wrong. She'd learned that survival wasn't just about making it through. It was about having the courage to ask for help one more time, even after everyone else had failed you. 9 months after that October day when Emma Rose Martinez had stood outside Mountain View Diner holding a cardboard sign, she stood in a different place entirely. Miss Caroline's School of Dance, wearing a pink tutu identical to the one her mother had worn in her professional debut 23 years ago. Emma was 7 now, 52 pounds, healthy, strong, and about to perform in her first recital.
In the audience, Daniel sat in the third row between Maria and Hawk. 15 other Hells Angels filled the surrounding seats, leather vests looking decidedly out of place among the ballet parents in their business casual and sundresses. Nobody said anything. Nobody dared. Emma peeked through the stage curtain, searching faces. When she found Hawk, she waved. He waved back, and even from across the auditorium she could see his smile. "You nervous?" The voice belonged to Sophia, Radar's daughter, also 7, who'd become Emma's best friend in the past 6 months. They were in the same dance class, the same therapy group for trauma survivors, the same second-grade classroom. "A little. What if I mess up?" "Then you mess up. Miss Caroline says it's not about perfect. It's about dancing because you love it." Emma touched her mama's locket. She wore it everywhere now, along with the small leather bracelet Hawk had made her. It had her road name stamped into it. Warrior. The Angels had voted unanimously. She'd survived torture. She'd exposed a serial killer. She'd saved other children's lives by being brave enough to speak. That made her a warrior. The music started. Swan Lake, Mama's favorite. Emma took her position with the other dancers, and when the curtain rose, she didn't think about Brittany or the locked room or the hunger. She thought about her mama, about the videos Maria had shown her of Elena Martinez dancing this same piece, about how Mama had always said ballet was flying without leaving the ground. Emma danced. Not perfectly. She stumbled once during a pirouette, forgot a step in the second combination. But she danced with joy, with freedom, with the pure, unself-conscious happiness of a 7-year-old who'd learned that her body could do beautiful things instead of just surviving ugly ones. When she finished, the applause was thunderous. 15 Hells Angels gave her a standing ovation. So did Daniel, tears streaming down his face. So did Maria, who whispered, "Elena would be so proud." Backstage, Miss Caroline hugged Emma carefully. The dance teacher knew Emma's history, knew to ask permission before touching, knew that healing looked like learning to trust again. "Beautiful, Emma. Your mother would have been so proud of you." She was watching. I could feel it. In the lobby afterward, Emma was surrounded. Her classmates and their parents, who'd initially given the Hells Angels nervous looks, but had gradually learned that these scary-looking men showed up for every school event, every doctor's appointment, every moment Emma needed support. Hawk knelt down with a small box. "Got you something. For your first recital." Inside was a silver charm bracelet, 4 charms already attached, a ballet slipper, an angel wing, a small book that opened to reveal Warrior engraved inside, and a heart with Lily's sister inscribed. "It's perfect," Emma whispered. "There is room for more charms, for every important moment, every milestone, every reminder that you're loved." Daniel approached cautiously. Even 9 months later, he moved around Emma like he was still earning back trust. Because he was. "You were amazing, baby." "Thanks, Daddy." Emma hugged him. Not the automatic hug of obligation, but a real one. Trust rebuilt slowly, moment by moment. Kept promise by kept promise. "I got you something too." Daniel pulled out an envelope. "I know we talked about this, but I wanted to make it official. I transferred ownership of Mama's music box collection to you. All 17 pieces. They're yours. Nobody can ever take them away." Emma's eyes widened. "Really? Even the one from Russia?" "Especially that one. They're your inheritance from Mama. Your Nana's holding them safe until you're old enough, but they're yours." This was Daniel's way now. Not grand gestures, small, consistent actions that proved Emma mattered. He'd quit his sales job, as promised,
taken a position with the Flagstaff accounting firm. 9 to 5, home every night. He'd completed the parenting classes CPS required, attended therapy twice a week, learned to recognize manipulation, learned to listen when Emma was scared instead of dismissing her feelings, learned that being a parent meant being present even when it was uncomfortable. Maria hosted Sunday dinners now.
Emma lived with her full-time, but Daniel came every week. They ate together, talked, rebuilt their relationship piece by piece. Some weeks were good. Some weeks Emma still had nightmares and couldn't stand to be touched and needed space. Daniel was learning to give her that space without taking it personally. Ghost appeared with his tablet. "Emma, got something to show you. Remember how we talked about other kids who might be in danger like you were?" Emma nodded. Emma's watch just got its 7th save. 8-year-old boy in Tucson. Stepfather was abusing him. Brother Toro noticed the kid had burns on his arms at a community event, asked questions, got him talking. Kid's safe now. Stepfather's in custody. 7 kids? Emma asked. 7 kids because you were brave enough to speak up, because you showed us what to look for, because you proved that children don't lie about abuse. Adults just don't want to listen. Teacher approached with someone Emma didn't recognize, a woman, early 30s, with kind eyes and a nervous smile. "Emma, this is Christina. She has something she wanted to tell you." Christina knelt down, and Emma could see she was fighting tears. "Hi, Emma. Her voice cracked. "I was engaged to Marcus Webb, Brittany's first victim. Or what we think was her first victim. I broke up with Marcus 2 months before he died because Brittany kept interfering in our relationship, kept trying to drive us apart. I thought she wanted him for herself, so I stepped back. And then he died, and she collected the insurance, and I didn't know. I didn't realize what she was." Emma didn't know what to say. "If I'd stayed, if I'd fought for him, maybe I could have protected him. Or maybe I'd be dead too. I don't know. But what I do know is that you stopped her. A 6-year-old child did what I couldn't do. You saved your own life and probably saved others. And I needed to tell you, thank you." Emma reached out and took Christina's hand. "I'm sorry about Marcus. I'm sorry about what you went through, but I'm so glad you survived." After Christina left, Emma turned to teacher. "Why did she come?" "Because she needed to. Because survivors need to see each other, to know they're not alone. Marcus's family has been working with investigators. They're building additional cases against Brittany. Your courage gave them courage." Wolfman appeared, phone in hand, expression serious. "Detective Morrison needs to talk to Emma. Says it's important." 5 minutes later, Emma sat in Miss Caroline's office on speakerphone with Morrison. "Emma, we've had a development. Brittany's been communicating from prison with someone, another woman doing the same thing she was doing. Jennifer Hale, the one we arrested in Phoenix? She's been talking. Gave up 4 other women in the network. FBI's moving on them tonight. But one of them," Morrison paused. "One of them has a 6-year-old stepdaughter. Similar situation to yours. We need to move fast." Emma's hand tightened on the phone. "Is the little girl okay?" "We don't know yet. FBI's executing warrants right now. But Emma, I wanted you to know. Because this little girl is going to go through what you went through. The fear, the testimony, the trauma. And I was wondering, when she's ready, would you be willing to meet her? To tell her it gets better?" Emma looked at Hawk. He nodded slightly. "Yes, I'll meet her." "Thank you. You're helping save lives, Emma. Every single day." After the call ended, Emma was quiet for a long moment. Then she said,
"That little girl is scared right now, like I was. She probably thinks nobody will believe her."
"But someone will," Hawk said. "Because you taught us what to look for, how to listen, how to believe children even when every instinct says to trust the respectable adult." The community event happened 2 weeks later. Flagstaff Community Center, packed with parents, teachers, social workers, law enforcement. Emma's Watch was presenting their program results and training materials. Wolfman spoke first about recognizing signs of abuse. Ghost covered financial red flags. Radar explained proper evidence documentation. Then teacher said, "And now I want to introduce someone who started all of this. Someone who survived the unthinkable and had the courage to speak. Emma Rose Martinez." Emma walked to the microphone. She was tiny still, barely tall enough to reach it, even with the stool they'd set up. The audience went quiet.
"Hi, I'm Emma. I'm 7. Last year, my stepmom tried to kill me."
The bluntness made people shift uncomfortably. Good. They needed to be uncomfortable.
"I tried to get help 4 times. I told a school nurse, I told a neighbor, I told a teacher, I told a youth pastor at church. Nobody believed me. They said I was lying. They said I was troubled. They said I was manipulative. They believed the adult who looked respectable over the kid who was starving."
You could hear a pin drop. "But there was one person who believed me. He was big and scary and had tattoos and scars, and everyone is always scared of him. But he listened. He gave me food. He called his friends. And they saved my life." Emma pointed to Hawk in the 3rd row.
"That's him. His name is Hawk. He's a Hell's Angel, and he's the best person I know."
Some people in the audience were crying now.
"I'm not telling you this story because I want you to feel sorry for me. I'm telling you this story because there are other kids like me, kids who are scared, kids who are hungry, kids who are being hurt by people who look nice and respectable. And those kids are trying to tell you. They're asking for help, but you're not listening."
Emma's voice got stronger, surer.
"So I want you to make a promise. Promise that the next time a kid tells you something that sounds crazy, you'll investigate instead of dismissing. Promise that you'll believe the child over the adult.
Promise that you'll look at bruises and burns and kids who are too quiet or too thin, and you'll ask questions. Hard questions, uncomfortable questions." She looked directly at Mrs. Henderson, who was sitting in the 4th row, looking like she wanted to disappear.
"Mrs. Henderson, you called my stepmom when I told you I was hungry. You believed her when she said I was attention-seeking. You didn't examine me. You didn't call CPS. You didn't follow up. And I spent 5 more months being tortured because you didn't want to make waves."
Mrs. Henderson started crying.
"I forgive you," Emma said, and she meant it. "Because holding on to angry feelings hurts me more than it hurts you. But I need you to promise you'll never dismiss another child. Can you promise that?"
Mrs. Henderson nodded, unable to speak. Emma looked at the crowd.
"Scary people saved my life. Church people and school people and respectable people all failed me. So stop judging by how people look.
Judge by what they do, by whether they show up, by whether they believe children when children tell their truth." The standing ovation lasted 4 minutes. Emma stood at the microphone, tiny and fierce and 7 years old, and she'd just taught a room full of adults what real courage looked like. Afterward, a woman approached with a little girl hiding behind her legs. The woman's eyes were red from crying.
"Emma, I'm Julia Martin. This is my daughter Chloe. She's the little girl Detective Morrison told you about, the one they rescued 2 weeks ago."
Emma knelt down to Chloe's level. The girl was 6, blonde, with the same haunted eyes Emma recognized from mirrors.
Hi, Chloe. I'm Emma. You're the girl who got saved by the motorcycle people? Yeah, and you got saved too, by FBI agents, I heard. I'm scared, Chloe whispered. My stepmom said nobody would believe me. But they did. And now I have to tell people what happened, and I don't want to.
It's scary, Emma agreed. I was really scared too. But you know what? Telling the truth is the bravest thing you can do. And every time you tell it, it gets a little easier. Not a lot, but a little.
Does the scared go away?
Emma touched her locket.
Not all the way, but it gets smaller. And the good days get bigger. And you learn that there are people who will believe you and protect you and never let anything bad happen again.
Chloe looked at Hawk, who was standing a few feet away.
Is that him? Your scary friend? That's him. He's really big. He is, but he's gentle. Want to meet him?
Chloe nodded. Hawk knelt down, making himself less intimidating. Hi, Chloe. I heard you were really brave. Asked for help when you needed it. That takes guts.
Emma said you gave her food.
I did. She was hungry. And nobody should ever be hungry, especially not kids. You hungry now? Chloe shook her head. Good. That's real good. You eating regular?
3 times a day, plus snacks.
Master says I can have as much as I want. That's how it should be. Hawk pulled something from his pocket. A small leather bracelet, child-sized. This is for you. It's got your road name on it, see? Survivor. Because that's what you are. Chloe took the bracelet with shaking hands.
What's a road name?
It's a name that says who you really are, not the name your parents gave you. The name you earned by being strong and brave and surviving things that would break most people. Emma's road name is Warrior. Yours is Survivor. And if you ever need anything, you call me. Emma's got my number. She can give it to your mama. Day or night, you need help, you call. Chloe put on the bracelet, and something in her face shifted. Like maybe, possibly, she was starting to believe she really was safe. 2 months after that, Emma turned 7½. Her birthday party wasn't at a fancy venue. It was at Wolfman's clubhouse, surrounded by motorcycles and people in leather and laughter and safety. A massive cake shaped like a motorcycle. Emma had requested it specifically. Chocolate with vanilla frosting and purple flowers, because purple was still her favorite color. 40 Hell's Angels attended. Sophia came with Radar. Chloe came with her mother. Daniel came with Maria. Teacher, ghost, medic, all the people who'd saved Emma's life and then stayed to help rebuild it. When Emma blew out the candles, she made a wish, not for herself this time, for all the children still trapped, still scared, still hoping someone would believe them. Detective Morrison arrived late, still in her work clothes. She pulled Wolfman aside and spoke quietly, but Emma heard anyway.
Brittany's appeal was denied. All 3 murder convictions upheld. She's serving 3 consecutive life sentences with no possibility of parole. She'll die in prison.
Emma felt nothing at those words. No satisfaction. No anger. Just a distant sense of finality. Brittany couldn't hurt anyone anymore. That was enough. Morrison noticed Emma listening and came over. You okay?
I'm okay. Is Brittany going to write to me again?
No. Court order prohibits all contact. If she tries, she faces additional charges.
Good. Emma touched her warrior bracelet. I don't want to hear from her ever again. You won't. I promise. As the party continued, Hawk pulled Emma aside. They sat on the clubhouse steps, watching the sun set over Flagstaff. You did good today, kid. At that community event, you told your truth, and you didn't let fear stop you. I'm still scared sometimes. At night, mostly. I dream that Brittany gets out and comes back, and I'm alone again. That's not going to happen. But even if you're scared, you know what to do now. You know to speak up, to ask for help, to trust the people who've proven they'll show up. Emma leaned against his shoulder. Thank you for stopping that day when I asked for help. You could have walked away like everyone else. No, I couldn't, because I saw my Lily in your eyes. And I couldn't save her from cancer, but I could save you from Brittany. That matters, Emma. It matters that you survived. It matters that you're here. It matters that other kids are going to survive because you taught us how to see them. Do you think Mama's proud of me? I think your Mama is watching from wherever she is, and she's so proud she could burst. Because you're exactly the kind of person she raised you to be. Strong, brave, true. Inside the clubhouse, Daniel was talking to Wolfman. I wanted to thank you, all of you, for saving my daughter when I failed to. You failed once, Wolfman said. Happens. What matters is you showed up after. You did the work. You changed. Emma trusts you again. That's not a small thing. I almost lost her. If Emma hadn't run to that diner, if Hawk hadn't been there. But she did, and he was, and now you get to be the father she needs. Don't waste that second chance. I won't. Emma came back inside, and Sophia ran up with news.
Emma, my daddy said they found another lady doing bad things in Texas, and they got her because of what you said about the insurance money. They checked, and she had the same thing, and they got the little boy out before anything bad happened.
8 saves now. 8 children who wouldn't become victims because Emma had spoken up. As the party wound down and people started leaving, Emma stood with her chosen family. Daniel and Maria on one side, Hawk and Wolfman on the other, Sophia holding her hand, Chloe watching shyly from her mother's side. This was what family looked like. Not blood, not obligation, but people who showed up, who believed, who fought for you when you couldn't fight for yourself. Emma looked at all of them and felt something she hadn't felt in almost 2 years. Complete. Safe. Home. Because she'd learned the most important lesson of all. That courage isn't about not being scared. It's about asking for help one more time after everyone else has said no. It's about trusting that somewhere, someone will finally listen. It's about knowing that the scariest-looking people sometimes have the biggest hearts, and the most respectable-looking people sometimes hide the darkest souls. Emma Rose Martinez was 7 years old. She weighed 52 pounds. She danced ballet. She was in therapy. She lived with her Nana and saw her daddy every day. She wore a warrior bracelet and carried her mama's memory in a locket around her neck. And she had 220 Hell's Angels who'd drop everything at a moment's notice because she'd asked for help, and they'd answered, and they'd never, ever walk away. That was what brotherhood meant. That was what family meant. That was what courage looked like. And Emma would spend the rest of her life making sure other children knew what she knew. That someone would always believe them. That someone would always show up. That they were never, ever as alone as they felt.
Because sometimes, all it takes is one person willing to listen, one person willing to act, one person willing to stand between a child and harm. And sometimes, that person arrives on a motorcycle with scars and tattoos and a heart that's been broken, but refuses to stop loving anyway.